I'm going to step off the limb. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
The moon, our closest celestial neighbor. It's been with us for as long as we remember, and it'll be with us long after we're gone. But there are certain things we'll never know about the moon, such as you know, there's a reason it's taking decades to get a manned mission back onto the moon. Because it holds secrets our minds may be too fragile to understand. In the Nasuverse especially, the moon is alive, and in many ways. Within the Nasuverse, planets and celestial bodies are no different from living things on Earth. They don't just sit silently in space. Instead, they are fully conscious beings, alive, aware, and ancient. They exist with a purpose, presence. And while this idea alone might be eerie, what's truly terrifying is not that they are alive, but how powerful they are. Each major celestial body, including the moon, Mercury, the Oort cloud, and so much more, is capable of producing something called an ultimate one. Think of this as the planet's final defense mechanism, the strongest life form it could ever possibly create. A being that stands above all other creatures, including humans, gods, spirits, and even legendary heroes. If you imagine the entire evolutionary tree of a planet, the Ultimate Ones sit at the very top. An Ultimate One, also known as a type, is the most powerful possible life form of a celestial body, a direct manifestation of its will. If a world were threatened, this being would appear to protect it. Most planets in the Nasuverse either have an Ultimate One or are on their way to producing one. These beings are so alien and powerful that when they appear on Earth, they usually break space and time just by existing. Nowhere is this more clear than the Ultimate One of the Moon, a being known as Crimson Moon Brunstad, or more simply, Type Moon. Unlike Earth, which never quite managed to produce an Ultimate One in a traditional sense, the Moon did. And at some point long ago, that being descended upon Earth. This was the Crimson Moon, a being so powerful they could wipe out all life on Earth without much effort. To understand the scale of the Crimson Moon's power, consider this. Even the most powerful figures in the Fate series, heroes of legend, demigods, and even deities would be utterly outmatched by him at full power. His abilities are conceptual in nature, meaning they aren't just magic or super strength. The Crimson Moon's mystic eyes, which allows him to interfere with a person on a conceptual level. With a glance, he can stop someone's movements, manipulate or erase their memories, and even affect their body or identity directly. These eyes don't just target the body, they can rewrite or destroy what makes someone who they are, making resistance almost impossible once he makes eye contact. And then there's his reality marble, Millennium Castle Brunstad. It's a giant, limitless castle that exists in a world of its own. A kind of dreamlike moonlight fortress that reflects his inner self. It acts as a possession chamber. If a being with enough power and purity shows up, someone like Archwade for example, the castle lets him take over their body. He uses it to come back to life through them. So even if you kill the Crimson Moon, he's not really gone. He just waits inside the castle until someone strong enough appears, then hijacks them like a lunar parasite. Crimson Moon doesn't come alone. He left a legacy behind. From his existence sprung the true ancestors, a race of immortal beings created to act as nature's guardians. They are meant to maintain balance. They keep humanity in check if they went too far. But as is common in Nasuverse, things didn't quite go as planned. Over time, many of the true ancestors fell into corruption. They started to prey upon humans rather than protecting nature, and so a new kind of being emerged, the Dead Apostles. However, in another world, under different circumstances, the moon takes on a completely different form. Imagine a massive computer, far more powerful than anything humans have ever built, not in a lab or even on Earth, but hidden deep within the moon. this isn't science fiction. Within the Fate Extraverse, it's a key part of the world called the Moon Cell. The Moon Cell contains the Moon Cell Automata, a supercomputer that was created billions of years ago, even before Earth existed. It wasn't made by humans or anything we know. It was built by an unknown, incredibly advanced alien civilization. It sits inside the moon and is mostly made of something called photonic crystals. To understand the Moon Cell, you need to know about photonic crystals. These are special materials that can control light, the way a mirror reflects light, but much more precisely, on Earth, scientists have just started experimenting with making small ones, maybe the size of a fingernail. But the Moon Cell's crystals are massive. Some stretch up to 30 kilometers. Think of photonic crystals like super high-tech building blocks that can bend and store light, which makes them perfect for building a quantum computer. And that's exactly what the Moon Cell is. A giant quantum computer that uses light to process and store information. It seems its main job is observation. Since Earth formed, the Moon Cell has been watching everything that happens on the planet. It scans Earth every nanosecond, observing and recording everything. Human history, behavior, and even thoughts and souls. It keeps all this data like a giant library of everything that's ever happened. But remember, a computer can also do a lot more than just process data. They can also simulate information as well. And so the Moon Cell simulates life. That means it can recreate people, events, and decisions inside itself, or simulation that mirrors the real world. And because of this, it can predict the future with incredible accuracy. Because of its enormous power, the Moon Cell can do more than just watch. It can interact with the world. In fact, it has the power to grant wishes. This doesn't mean magical genie-type wishes, but more like rewriting reality itself based on its calculations. In the Fate universe, reality is seen as a complex system of possibilities rather than a singular, fixed state. The Moon Cell uses its quantum control over light and particles that send out commands that can physically alter the laws of nature. This means it can effectively reprogram reality. If someone were to fully access the Moon Cell, they could potentially reshape the world, or even become godlike. One way it utilizes this reality-bending ability is through its ability to simulate its own Holy Grail War. Originally, the Moon Cell didn't have anything called a Holy Grail War. It just wanted to collect data on human behavior, especially survival and conflict. It found that forcing people into deadly situations was a good way to see what they were truly capable of. Over time, the Moon Cell systems evolved into something far more structured. A tournament where the winner could reach the Holy Grail, a device that grants them any wish. The first thing to know is that people don't enter the Moon Cell physically. Instead, the Moon Cell scans and digitizes their souls, turning their essence into data. This allows them to enter the Moon Cell's virtual environment. Before the main tournament begins, 999 people are invited or pulled into the Moon Cell. They wake up inside a virtual school with no memories of who they really are or why they're there. Everyone thinks they're just normal students, but soon things start to feel wrong. The environment feels off, people begin disappearing, and some students get headaches or see static when they question their surroundings. This is part of the test. The Moon Cell is checking who's capable of breaking free from the illusion. Only ones who manage to regain their real memories and realize they're trapped in a fake world are allowed to move on. Everyone else is disqualified. And in most cases, that means their soul data is erased. Only about 30% of the original participants make it through this phase. After a series of other trials, the final 128 survivors are each paired with a real servant, legendary heroes from history or myth. From here, the tournament begins. A series of one-on-one battles with the loser eliminated. The goal is to reach the top, defeat all masters and servants, and stand before the Moon Cell's Holy Grail. You get the idea. In two different universes, the moon somehow always ends up being a force that can birth the most powerful beings in the multiverse. Let's just be glad our own moon is perfectly normal, because I don't know what we'd do if it was more than meets the eye.